In this video, we're going to talk about the informational text structure of compare or compare and contrast. But if you ever see compare, do both unless otherwise specified. What we're going to be doing is talking about the section right here where you are going to compare two different elements from the social studies that we have been looking at with ancient Egypt, Hinduism, Buddhism. Again, you may choose to use Mesopotamia, but this is going to be a very limited reference point and not your main focus of what it is that you are going to write about. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of graphic organizers. Part of your grade is the brainstorming element for these writing pieces. You may choose to do the brainstorming on the actual sheet in the space provided if you can make things fit, or you may choose to get notebook paper or use your writer's notebook and do the brainstorming there. But I need to see the brainstorming, or Mr. Harvey needs to see the brainstorming before you actually start writing that paragraph so you can make sure your information is going to be accurate. The other thing that you are going to need to have access to during this video, so here's what you'll need. You'll need your instruction page. You're going to need your writer's notebook because we're going to use a couple of different graphic organizers for the each of the writing structures. And then you're also going to need pages 82 and 83 in your resource journal because we're going to reference those. At any point, make sure that you pause the video if you need a second to get organized and then come back to the video from there. So when we talk about comparing, here is where we're going to do the structures. I'm going to make four boxes on this page, and I'm just going to do each structure in a different box. In this video, I'm only going to talk about the comparing one, and then I'll move on to the other so that you may choose to then do the comparing part and then move on to the next section. So label your box here, compare, or wherever, anyone you want. And I'm going to show you two different graphic organizers you can use when you're organizing your thinking. Being able to organize thinking with informational text is important because what it does is that takes away the element of what am I going to write, and then you can just focus on how you're going to write it, which is those are two higher order thinking skills. So one of the graphic organizers that you've used many times is a Venn diagram, okay, where you have the two different topics. What you have to make sure of on a Venn diagram is that one matches one. These should be about the same thing. So if I say that this person has blonde hair and this person has black hair, okay, and it's also what they have, not what they don't have, okay, what have. So you're not going to say this person has blonde hair, this person does not have blonde hair. So you need to make sure that you, again, this skill is not new for you, but I want to reiterate that. And if you do your Venn diagram and want me to take a look at it, or Mr. Harvey will be happy to do that as well. The other graphic organizer that sometimes gets used with comparing looks like this. This is similar to what I do. You make a list at the top. Often it's a bulleted list. And these are the elements that are the same, okay, that is shared by both topics. And then the other part down here is you have blank and blank, blank and blank, blank and blank. And these are the parts that reference your opposites. This is where you would put like hair, hair. If you are talking about our social studies content, you might talk about, let's say you're comparing Hinduism and Buddhism. Here you might put the gods that they believed in and the god that the other one believed in. And so you'd be able to make sure that the elements match each other. Okay, so comparing as far as the organization of it, we should be pretty familiar with the brainstorming. What I want to make sure that you hit is in your journal on page 82. There is a section that says compare. This right here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, this is actually the order of the sentences. I find it hard. Sometimes there are many ways to write things, and I think in comparing there likely are as well, but I've been hard-pressed to find another way. So first you have to state what you're writing about in a topic sentence, then how they're alike, then say that they're different, and then list the differences. And there's a couple ways that you can do that. Over here is a sample paragraph. You can see Harry Potter and Alchemist series are alike and different. They're alike because they both use magic. Students are school age, and there is a main antagonist. The protagonists are fighting. They are also different. And then here's where it starts to go. Harry Potter series spans several years while So this is one way where you can say the Harry Potter spans several years while the Alchemist series only spans a few days. Also, Harry Potter series follows the story of 3 friends, and then I used a semicolon. The Alchemist series, however, follows the story of twin siblings. And then another example is finally the Harry Potter series uses magic wands, whereas the Alchemist series uses elemental magic from within their auras. So the purpose of seeing this is realizing that in your differences, there are different ways that you can represent that. You want to keep the information together. So this right here is how long and how long. This next sentence, it talked about 3 friends, twin siblings. The next one was about magic wands and elemental magic. And when you write, try to use differences of these. So don't use whereas, whereas, whereas for all of them. Make sure that one of them is something different to break up that flow of writing. So again, this is something that you should be very familiar with, but I need you to know that with comparing specifically, if you do not follow this ordering on page 82, I will have you redo it. You will not get full credit. In fact, if it doesn't start the way it should, I'm going to just hand it back to you because we never start with they. That's usually what we like to do. They are alike and different. What are alike and different? Okay. Finally, when we look at different topics, I'm not going to give you a lot of topics as you go through because I want you to think about these, but a lot of people have been talking about like Hinduism versus Buddhism, ancient Egypt versus ancient Mesopotamia. You just need to make sure that you are keeping with the same things. Are you talking about the gods? Are you talking about the books? Are you talking about when it started? Are you talking about, you're going to use the words monotheism and polytheism because those are words we've been talking about, etc. Okay. Now, if you have questions, ask each other, share ideas. Maybe you don't want to do either of these and you have another idea. As long as it relates to Hinduism, Buddhism, ancient Egypt, and maybe a little bit of Mesopotamia, you are welcome to use it as your topic. So it was very fast. Watch parts of it again if you need to. Come ask me or Mr. Harvey if you need clarification. Thanks.